India is data rich.
Yeah.
However, one of the problems that we need to tackle fairly quickly is our data is within silos. So there is data within the enterprise, there is data that is open and available on the internet. There's a lot of data that the government has as well. Now, data needs to be connected for it to be usable, whether it is for people or for AI. So that is one of the big challenges that we have. What does that mean, right? What does connected data mean? It doesn't mean that we need to bring all data into one single container. It doesn't mean that it has to be in a data lake or data warehouse. It means that it has the right taxonomy, that when you look at data, you know what it means. That when you're exchanging data between organizations are able to understand it.
Thank you for joining us, Alexi. And before we dive into questions that my team has put up for you, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about you, the work that you do, and also what you're doing in the summit here today.
No, thanks for having me. I'm Alexi Thomas. I lead the data practice in EY. So my job, if you will, is about how do we make data ready for AI.
Oh, wow.
I've been in this data business for the last 25 years. 25.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. I've seen various inflection points, right? Going from data that we could manage in small databases to big data. Big data was an inflection point. And I feel now is an inflection point as well. With AI really taking off, the focus is back on data to say, okay, how do we make sure that the data that we feed AI is the right data?
So I want to ask you something. So when you say right data, what would comprise right data? What are the key factors to take into account for the people who work with AI to take into account?
Yeah, so very good question, right? So what does good data mean? Data needs to be trustworthy, right? I mean, it needs to, so when we talk about trustworthy, what does it mean? That we know where did it come from? What's the provenance and lineage of it? You know, the quality of data. Right. Is it good quality data? Is it good quality for what I'm going to use it for? Right. Is important.
Right.
Thirdly, it is governed, right? Governance also means that if things go wrong, you know who is the owner of that data. And fourthly, that AI should use enterprise data, right? So when we say data, it means enterprise data that is trusted, of good quality, of the right level of governance. And lastly, and very important, is that it is free from bias. You're letting AI to make decisions. AI should make decisions based on good quality data that it can trust, and it is free from bias, because we don't want AI to have all the biases that humans have had as well. So freeing that bias of data is also part of making data good for AI.
Fair enough. Nice. Thank you for sharing that, because I think as most of us are still learning and trying to understand AI, I think it's so important to understand the importance of good data, right data. And while people throw out the big buzzwords, right? You mentioned governance. I know that governance is used a lot, but not many people get into it. And also the bias element.
Yes.
I think, again, people tend to miss out on that as well at times. At a small scale, of course, at a large scale, people do give it, do their due diligence. But we're going to jump into the questions that I have for you. So the first one is, what is the single most important decision India must get right in the next 3 years to shape its AI future?
Yeah.
And what happens if we don't?
Yeah. India is data rich.
Yeah.
However, one of the problems that we need to tackle fairly quickly is our data is within silos. So there is data within the enterprise, there is data that is open and available on the internet. There's a lot of data that the government has as well. Now, data needs to be connected for it to be usable, whether it is for people or for AI. So that is one of the big challenges that we have. What does that mean, right? What does connected data mean? It doesn't mean that we need to bring all data into one single container. It doesn't mean that it has to be in a data lake or data warehouse. It means that it has the right taxonomy, that when you look at data, you know what it means. That when you're exchanging data between organizations organizations are able to understand it. When a data scientist or a startup is going to use this data that is available, it's able to use that seamlessly.
Right.
So I think the most important thing is to develop those protocols, those taxonomies that make data interoperable.
Right.
And that is where the richness of India's data will come to the fore and will drive AI further.
Fair enough. So the next question is, I think, related to this itself. So when we speak of working with AI, when we speak of, the future ahead, who do you think has the most important, crucial role to play? Is it the government? Is it the industry? Is it the academia? Or is it the society? And why do you think, whichever section you choose, why do you think they have the sole responsibility of leading it from the top?
I think everyone has a responsibility here. Enterprises have the responsibility to make sure that the data that they're using for training their AI models is of good quality, like I said, right? You don't want AI to go rogue. You don't want AI to make decisions on wrong data. You don't want AI to make decisions on biased data. So enterprises have a huge role to play. I think boards are driving that as well. Boards are asking enterprises to get their data sorted.
Right.
Government has a big role to play, and the big role that it can play is actually the silos of data, making it ready for consumption and making it available to the startup community, to the enterprises to use. Civil society has a role to play to make sure that they are demanding that the data is used responsibly by the organizations, right? Whether it is government, whether it is enterprises.
Of course.
So civil society has a role to play. Government has put really good regulations around it. The DPDP Act that we've created is actually very forward-looking.
Right.
So that our data, yours and my data, is not used without our consent.
Yeah.
So I think this is a journey that we will go together as enterprise, as consultants, as government, as civil society, together.
I think it's an ecosystem that needs to be built supporting each other.
Undu.
Yeah. And before I let you go, Alexi, the last question, and I think the easiest one, but equally important again. If you had 2 minutes with the global leaders here who are at the summit right now, what would you tell them and why?
Look, this is a very interesting question. The focus of the world has been on models, on large language models, and rightfully so. That's changing the game. But the real change is going to come from everyone adopting AI. And that adoption, think back to the Y2K moments. The India tech industry stepped up to solve that Y2K moment. Of course, it did not come in a sense. Today, you will see the same here, right? The talent is here, the appetite is here, the energy is here, and we have the chance to really take adoption of AI back to the applications, embed AI to every single thing that we are going to build, right? And I feel without India and the talent here helping us, AI is still going to be a slow dream to achieve, and we can really accelerate it.
True. But thank you for that. I agree with you. Do you think the next decade would see like a positive adoption? Would the next decade be enough, or do you think there's it's going to take longer than that, especially for Indians in India?
Yeah, I mean, decade is a long term. I mean, I certainly don't feel that I have insight into what's going to happen in the next decade. What I can talk about is here and now.
Right.
Here and now, we are using AI. We're using AI to make the lives of employees, enterprises, consumers, customers easy.
Right.
And I think that in itself is a very exciting journey for the next 18 months to 2 years. That's what keeps me going.
Oh.
Maybe in 10 years, we will have autonomous agents and robots that will make lives easier, not just in white collar jobs but also in the physical AI will also be
Yes.
advanced enough so that I don't have to do plumbing at home. I don't have to do dishwashing at home.
I think that's
Work
the
will
goal.
work.
I think that'll also happen.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for your time. Appreciate the chat, and I hope you have a great panel ahead.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chief AI Officer podcast with Sanjay Puri. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to leave a comment. We'd love to hear what you thought. And share it with someone curious about the future of AI. Join us every Friday right here on the Kayo podcast as we share more stories and insights from the leaders shaping what's ahead.